But he just starts dancing and he keeps dancing. And like at one point he starts like popping, he's doing like this like pop and locking thing with his hand, and it's hilarious. All I kept thinking is I was imagining like when he starts doing the pop and locking, I wanted to cut in, and I can just do this in post, but cut to in the Matrix the scene where they're like, he's beginning to believe. And then it's just him like,
good.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
hello, and welcome back to the 192nd episode of Good Bad show where we watch terrible movies until it's Pikachu. And boy, did we watch a terrible movie this week. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Shilligo, joined as always, the other host, Mr. Kyle Hinton. Kyle?
Spoiling nothing at all.
Yeah. So, this was recommended by several people, or at least one person I got an email or something from. Back in the day, quite a while ago,
we reviewed a film.
We reviewed a film called Ember Days.
The leaves turn from green to gold. The warmth gives way to the frost. The Ember Days are upon us.
Which Brian enjoyed way too much.
I loved. I was a big fan of Ember Days. Everything about it I thought was a delight. And we have never returned to that filmmaker's oeuvre until today. The filmmaker is Sean Michael Argo, the auteur behind Ember Days. And this film is Binary Samurai.
There is always hope. You cannot control the code. Breach. Together, we are empowered.
So before he became a filmmaker, how much you want to bet this guy was doing that techno goth dancing?
Oh, yeah, under the overpass. Yeah, 100%. Also spent a lot of time in drum circles and at Ren fairs. 100%. Which I'm not hating on. Those are my kind of people. I'm just saying that this is...
That we know. We know.
Yeah. Also, it cracked me up. So I went to his IMDb page just to look and see what else he had going on. His profile picture on IMDb is a Hero Forge model. Do you know what Hero Forge is? It's like the little D&D character figurine
like
designer.
Warhammer 40K?
Yeah, kind of. But like you can design your own little like figurine, but like you can make yourself or whatever. And his IMDb picture is one of those characters designed for himself.
To be fair, if I could hack into IMDb and change out his profile pic or whatever, I would change it to John Travolta from Battlefield Earth, and you would not be able to tell the difference.
This is true. I wonder, can you just upload your own photo? Because I don't have a photo on IMDb. Like, we have IMDb pages, but I don't have a photo on there. I need to put a photo on there. Anyways, yeah, it's like it's a little Hero Forge model. It's cracking me up. Getting into the movie. The movie is Binary Samurai. It's his most recent movie, 2023. Yes. At least when it came out. I don't know when it was filmed. It seems pretty recently. At least it looks pretty recently. But getting right into it, we get this opening text on screen. The first one, I was like, okay, fine.
It was way too much text.
Well, hold on. The first one is it's the grim future of 1999. Yes. And I was like, okay, maybe this is satire, kind of a little bit.
Well, it's Y2K, right?
Yeah. And I was like, okay. But then right after that, we get a wall of fucking Arial font, white on black text, and I was like, oh no.
Yep.
Just explain. I let out the biggest sigh as soon as that text came up. I was like, oh fuck. I was like, god damn it.
Yeah, people who are survivors looking for nodes.
The net went offline.
Hunted by samurai.
Yes, the net went offline. Millions were apparently trapped in the computer. Yeah, is what they say on nodes. Whatever, which are glow sticks.
It's like
spoilers.
God.
Fucking glow sticks.
Well, he had so many left over, Brian.
Yeah.
What was he going to do with them?
This is true. Meanwhile, Otaku scavenge the world, and samurai serve as like evil warriors. So and this kind of becomes clear by the end of the story, and it's explained here a fair amount, because then another text screen pops up after that. Basically, the premise is this guy named Demagogue, what an incredible villain name, is basically wants to claim the nodes using his samurai. And the samurai are like the bad guys. They're like blades for hire for this Demagogue guy. Mm-hmm. And he wants to claim the nodes so that he can rule as a digital god. Meanwhile, the Otaku are like religious technology people. They're like the resistance who preach about the ghost in the machine, who is a spirit of hope and resistance called Kami of Wires. At the end of this, I just wrote, I'm going to die. Yes. Otaku hide, samurai hunt, the spirit rises is the final line before we get into the movie. It's so stupid. So I thought that Ember Days was a flimsy, half-assed, fucking hacky premise.
This thing is wafer thin.
Oh my god, it is brutal. That being said, I like some things about this movie. We'll get into it. I hate most of it, but I like some things about this movie. Credit where it's due. We opened on the opening credits. It was just these two guys walking through like some overgrown grass. Looked like they filmed this in the same place they filmed a lot of Ember Days. If I'm being honest.
How Argo's character wears shin guards as bracers.
Yes, we get right back into the classic Ember Days production design, which is just like random shit strapped. It is a classic dystopian thing where it's just like random like hockey gear and like studded belts and like just
why do
stuff.
all the samurais have freaking
little sub collars? Yeah, I don't know, Kyle. Maybe because we know what Sean Michael Argo is into. If I had to guess. I don't know, just a guess, because I had that note later. I did not realize this at first. I was like, "Why all the samurai got little collars on?" All right, but like the idea is that they're subservient to the fucking Demagogue guy. I guess
it's like their contract. It's what's keeping them,
Yeah. Yes, but we just happen to, instead of using anything else, we just happen to use like BDSM collars because that's what he had on hand, I guess. So the opening credits are walking through these ruined buildings and stuff, looking for technology shit. Like they stumble across like a broken. They stumble across this the aftermath of the scene from Office Space where they destroyed but in like 1,000 years in the future, it's just like a printer smashed into a million pieces. And they're like digging through it. Meanwhile, the credits on screen is like just shiny blue embossed text that does not stylistically fit.
And also, like, is this film supposed to be like faked to look like it's from the 90s?
Yes. So this, and I actually think it's maybe the most effective thing about the movie is how it looks. I think it's very clear this movie.
You know what they should have done?
What?
Run it through a couple of VCRs.
Yes.
Who taught you to do this? From you, all right? I learned by watching you.
People who watch bad movies have friends who watch bad movies.
So this movie actually looks okay, like, in some ways. Clearly, whoever edited this film knew enough about the post process to make this movie look kind of okay.
And I'll also give credit on this. Sean Michael Argo, whoever his DP is, they stepped up game big time since Ember Days.
Yes, and what I think, it looks like it's shot on film, but obviously they didn't shoot this on film. It looks kind of like 16 millimeter or something like that. But I think, they just ran a bunch of post-processing on it to make it look like it was shot on film. It looks very similar. I don't know if you saw Kung Fury. Was it Kung Fury? No. There was some movie a couple years ago. It's probably almost a decade ago at this point, that was shot to look like it was made in like on film in the 80s, but it was like all green screen. It was all digital and stuff. I don't know if it was any good. I don't remember.
ready for a new world of unspeakable adventures never before shown in a motion picture. Get ready for Kung Fury.
But it looks like that where it's you're doing, or like a Grindhouse, like the Planet Terror or whatever.
Yeah, there's
which
like
that actually probably was shot on film.
Filters to make it look old.
Basically, just making it look like it's shot on film, and it looks pretty good. Like it, and the other thing is that, like you said, the DP,
the screen direction is so much cleaner,
so much better, and the DP clearly at least understood how to expose things and stuff. Because like every shot you can see like what's happening.
The subjects are well highlighted. There's good definition from the background.
Good contrast, and like because a lot of this is shot with like just lights, like colored gels blasting, or probably like not gels, probably like LED, like colored LEDs, but it's all like colored and stuff. I think probably what is most likely is they shot this on something with an incredibly broad dynamic range. They shot this on something and did a ton of work in post.
Initiate virus scan.
Because to me, it feels like most of the look of the film was created in post, and they just captured good enough video on the day with a broad enough dynamic range that they could play with the fucking shit out of it.
Our praise is that it looks significant. It looks so much better than the other one, in that it's as far as, like we said, screen direction.
Yeah.
Everything is coherent there.
For the most part. It's not completely all the time. And a lot of stuff still looks like shit in its own way, which we'll get into. But it's compared to Ember Days, it is night and day.
It's not a gray and like tan
mess. Where you cannot tell what's happening.
Now I know which of my children I must slay.
The script is still incoherent.
Oh,
more so, I would argue.
This is like 20 minutes of story and like 45 minutes of interpretive dance.
That was my exact note. I was like, they had 20 minutes of plot, and then they just said, and now we dance, motherfucker. Like, that is all this movie is. It's incredible. But the man himself, God, what is his name? Sean Michael Argo, plays our main character, Dahaka? No. Hold on, I'll find it. I can't remember what his name is.
Pesh Mode?
No, what's his name? Kohath is his name. He's our main character, Kohath. Him and his buddy Solomon, they're both samurais. They're searching the countryside, and they kind of like go into this building, and they stumble across these other guys, samurais or whatever, and they get into a fight.
I guess like they're they're in competition,
working for somebody else. Like none of this is ever explained in there.
They get into a crazy fight. The guns they have are just fantastic.
Well, that's the thing. We see them carrying these guns around, and they're just modern day guns.
And one of them, you can see the magazine, and it clearly has bullets in it.
Yeah, but they're clearly airsoft guns.
Yeah.
Like they're very obviously airsoft guns. But yes, like you said, they're like it's like an AR-15 and like a
and P90. Was
the bad guys have like P90s or whatever. But the one, they literally have it because it's an airsoft gun. They have like the fake bullets because there is one rifle like that has like a clear mag on the side.
Also, you can also tell that they're airsoft. They're super light because they lift them above their head.
Yes,
it's like
they just move them around
ease.
they weigh the same amount that airsoft guns weigh. Also cracked me up, and I'm not a gun guy at all, but they have this thing. They did the thing where they have the sight on the side.
Oh yeah, oh god.
But okay, so my understanding of that is that you would normally do that where you would have a longer range sight on top. And then you would have on the side like a short to mid-range sight so that when you're in close quarters, you can use the side. But they have it the opposite, if anything.
That's so dumb.
The sight on the side is like a zoomed, like a multi...
That's
whatever. I don't know. Again, I'm sure
you're
I'm
100%
wrong.
right.
I'm sure I'm wrong because I don't know shit, but I got guns. But it's just cracking me up. But anyway, so they do this like salute thing, I guess, where they're like, we're honorable samurai. And then they just shoot at each other. I thought they were gonna put them down,
just
but no.
Shooting like rays and plasma and stuff.
That's the thing. They're laser guns. They shoot lasers, despite the fact that they're clearly modern airsoft guns. It's incredible. But they just start shooting at each other. And then at one point, the two guys, Solomon and the guy he's fighting, like, are shooting at each other from an inch away, but I guess they malfunction because they're like, ah, and like nothing happens, and they just drop them and they start beating each other up or whatever. And again, there's some more interesting cinematography in this. Like they love the top-down shot in this movie. Good Lord, the number of times they have the camera like up, looking straight down at whatever we're watching, it happens constantly. But they're like fighting in this bathroom.
Yeah, fighting in the stall. You get that nice overhead shot.
Yeah,
of them like doing some. And there's a part where like Solomon's like throwing him back and forth, and the walls like those walls are like paper thin.
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to pass on here?
And then Sean Michael Argo, the guy he's fighting, they also run out of bullets, lasers or whatever, because one guy pulls out a sword.
Yeah, they're like he's acting like they're both charging at each other with swords.
Yeah,
like, fuck yo,
surprise,
sawed-off shotgun,
sawed-off shotgun. He blasts him with a sawed-off shotgun, and then we cut to the bathroom, and the guy, Solomon, beats up his guy, and then just picks up a shotgun off the floor and blows his head off, or blows a hole in his chest. I was like, why didn't you pick that up early? It was been sitting there the whole time. Like, what are you doing? Okay, whatever. So they both win. They killed the people they were fighting. And again, this looks so far way better than anything in Ember Days. The slow-mo is like actual super high frame rate slow-mo. Like they're shooting at like 240 FPS or something for some of the slow-mo shots. It looks really good.
They probably had Z-cams.
So then they finish this fight and they meet back up together. And this will persist throughout the whole movie. The sound design in this movie is atrocious. There's nothing. It's the biggest mistake.
The world doesn't exist.
Yes. It's the biggest mistake that people make, like, as beginners in sound design. They only have like the first level of sound effects in, where it's like the most immediate thing at any given moment that you need to hear is like the only thing you hear, and there's nothing else.
Voices, maybe a few actions,
like a can getting kicked, or like
you're not going to hear footsteps. You're not going to hear like
ambience. There is ambience occasionally, but it's way too quiet, and you can barely hear it.
Even if there's nobody around, there's still nature.
Yes.
There's like occasionally some wind sounds,
wind or anything. Like there's like no echoing. There's no secondary.
There
sound
definitely
like,
would be echoing with all the hollow buildings they're in.
And on top of that, they're all carrying like a ton of shit. Like they have all this like armor, and like we'll get to his main prop in a minute, which is incredible. But they have all this shit on them and guns and stuff. None of that makes any noise. It's all just like silent. And then whenever they like talk, you just get terrible ADR like dumped into the
extra ammunition, no food. About weak daimyo.
They can't all be strong.
They died like samurai.
There's no greater death than the death of a samurai.
It's just, and to be fair, audio's hard as shit, but it is not good. It is not good.
It's one of those things that it's something that you'll never pay attention to until it's missing.
Oh yeah, and then it's glaringly obvious how important it is.
Really?
These are the times we live in.
Then we cut to, and I can't remember her name. She's the lady working for the bad demagogue, for the bad guy. She's with the incense shot.
Are these the ones with the crazy like eyeshadow?
Yes, yeah. Her name is and it's a thing. It's a thing from a thing. It's like Shinigami. That is her name.
Death God.
Yes, Shinigami, and we get this shot, which I swear is from something, where she's out of focus behind the camera, like pedestals up and with incense in the foreground,
and then we rack focus very slowly.
I was like, this is from something. I was losing my mind. It's like from some anime or something. I recognized that specific shot from something, and I was losing my mind. Anyways, she's working for Demagogue. She's like his main lady assassin or something. None of this is ever really explained with any detail, so it doesn't really fucking matter.
We scanned a node. Closing in now.
Mm-hmm. Then we cut from that, and we just, for a little bit, and get used to this, ladies and gentlemen, we cut to a lady lit by blue light dancing in front of red binary.
Yep, ones and zeros.
And spoilers, that's 50% of this movie.
It's all a bunch of ones and zeros. And even a 2, there's no such thing as 2.
Oh my God. Yeah. So we watch her dance for a little bit, and I think it's specific. No, this might be Shinigami. I can't remember. Because basically what this will end up being is that anytime somebody like hacks into the, like, connects them, because everybody can like connect themselves when they get to the network.
When they get into the mainframe.
Yes, it literally, like when they hack into the Matrix, they go into this weird liminal space with like the red binary, and then they dance for a while, and it's
this reminded me. I brought this up beforehand. This reminded me so much of this woman of Shodan from the System Shock games.
Oh yes. You're talking about the one which that is Kami of Wires. Mm-hmm. That might be who is here now. I can't remember who we're looking at. She pops up like randomly all the time, but she's like the ghost in the machine.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, she's the one. She has like dreads, and yes, and I think she has a prosthetic on her eye because she has
no eyebrows.
Yes,
yeah.
She is Kami of Wires. I think is like, and she's like the god basically of this universe, of this weird dystopian computer universe. I don't know, whatever. Then we cut, and now we're introduced to some of the Otaku, who the first one we meet, and we don't know any of these people's names. All of them will die at some point, so it doesn't really matter. But the first one is Paul Dano. It looks like Paul Dano.
No. That's not how this is supposed to happen. Just go full Batman.
Yeah. And then he's got a glow stick, and he's like putting it in a laptop thing so that he can do something with it. Meanwhile, the lady's still dancing. Who knows?
Some kind of reverse hexagonal and hexagonal encryption.
But then our guys are somehow, I guess when he connects the node, our two main guys are able to like find them somehow, and they're gonna go try to get them. Then Paul Dano and his buddy somehow realize that they're there. Paul Dano just turns around and looks at a giant wall of monitors that are all off and goes, "Oh no, we've been hacked." I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you even looking at?
You cannot
They followed me.
Damn it. There is always hope. Hear me.
Oh shit.
Open your
You've been
eyes.
hacked.
But then Sean Michael Argo and Solomon, his buddy, burst through the door and just beat them all to death.
Yes. What the?
And just beat him to death. It's incredible.
Open your eyes. You cannot control the code. There is always hope.
Then,
Also, all the otaku people are like, they have technology like attached to them in some way.
Well, and because they all have, everybody can like jack themselves in, like the Matrix. They can all. It is just a shitty Matrix clone. They can all jack themselves into the Matrix. Basically, they like Sean Michael Argo like plugs a USB into his neck over and over.
It's reminding me of Futurama. Bender, are you jacking on in there?
Don't be a drag, man. We're jacking on.
They find the node, and Sean Michael Argo sits down. He pulls his hacker thing off his back. He has this strapped to his back. It's a fucking skateboard. Kyle, I don't...
Yes.
This is my favorite prop in a movie I've seen in a while. He pulls this thing down and puts it on the desk. It's a skateboard that he has, like, taped keyboards to.
Yes, what? It's very ergonomic, Brian.
It's the
very ergonomic
fucking thing. I love it so much because he's typing on it like he has the keypads are on like the part of the skateboard that like the where it like kicks up at the end, and he likes those arms are really wide.
There's like this YouTuber in the UK who does like specialized keyboards, like very like unique keyboards, like super tall ones or like a Hebron or whatever. I want to send him that. Hey, I need you to make a skateboard keyboard.
It's incredible, dude. I was dying. It's amazing. But he hacks in to the node or whatever, and then we jump into the fucking code world, and we watch Sean Michael Argo dance shirtless in blue light for, I'm not kidding, 4 straight uninterrupted minutes.
Must have been a dancer.
He must have been a dancer.
It blew my mind. Now here's the thing, Kyle. I get what he's going for here. I get the idea. Like on a very surface level, like, okay, we need some representation of interfacing with this weird like technology matrix thing. I know they like do interpretive dance. I can kind of, not really, but I can kind of see, but you can't do it for 4 straight minutes.
Yes, they can. You know why? You know why, Brian? Because the film already has like a 80-minute runtime.
Yes, it is an hour and 20 minutes long, and I'm not kidding. I bet at least 20 minutes of it is, or probably in the ballpark of 15 to 20 minutes is just people dancing in this same room from the same angle. It's amazing. But he just starts dancing, and he keeps dancing, and like at one point he starts like he's doing like this like pop and locking thing with his hand, and it's hilarious. All I kept thinking is I was imagining like when he starts doing the pop and locking, I wanted to cut in, and I can just do this in post, but cut to in the Matrix the scene where they're like, he's beginning to believe. And then it's just him like,
oh, good.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
Anyway, so he's still just dancing, and it just keeps going. Again, it goes for over 4 minutes in this first scene, and I couldn't believe it. I was stunned.
How is this a movie?
Yeah, stunned. But then towards the end, he keeps hearing the same thing over and over again. There's always hope. Hear me. Open your eyes. You cannot control the code.
Hear me. Open your eyes. You cannot control the code.
I guess that's Kami, the wires speaking to him or whatever. Who fucking knows?
I mean, not to say that it's not a decent idea in some aspects of like viewing of how like technology can be a religion in some form.
Right.
Here.
There's some ideas.
But like that was done nearly 40 years ago, or I guess 40 years ago in Tron.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. All of these ideas, and it's the same thing that Ember Days was, where it's like it's not like there's nothing interesting here. It's just all of these ideas have been done before and done better by a million other people, and you're just making a worse version. Like, it's The Matrix, it's Tron, it's Hackers, it's like 8 things all smashed together, and worse than all of the other versions of those things. Like, it does not elevate in any way, unless you like bad interpretive dance. Then because those other properties do lack bad interpretive dance, I guess, and this one has lots of it. So
must have been a dancer.
Yeah.
He must have been a dancer.
So I guess somehow the dancing unlocked the node, because then he removes the glow stick from the
that was his
laptop.
his executable for his brute force password cracker.
Yeah, that would suck if every time you had to log in, you got to do like a 4-minute interpretive dance to get them. Yeah. Then we cut from there. He's now got that node to some lady who will become a main character, kind of. I think her name's Baka, maybe, or something like that. She goes into this room with these 2 guys who are also otakus, of course. And she's talking to them, and she plays like a recording, which is the one that we just heard the Sean Michael Argo here, which is like, there's always hope, hear me, open your eyes, you can't control the code, or whatever.
There is always hope. Hear me. Open your eyes. You cannot control the code.
You can't stop the signal. Is what it is.
You can do that?
Can't stop the signal now.
She plays that for them, and they all just kind of stare at her for a bit, and then they give her like a hard drive or something.
What? Like they're being possessed or something? Like they're being controlled?
No, I think it's that she's proving that she's like part of the group. Like I think she plays them that thing as
like a samurai wouldn't be able to wouldn't be able to show you this or something like that.
Something like that. Like she's like basically like doing something to like prove that she's part of the otaku group or something. I guess I think is the idea, because they give her this hard drive, and then she takes it back to her base, which is like a little workshop where she plays keyboards.
Yes,
to control a 3D printer.
Yes, I saw that in front. I was like, is that a 3D printer? What is this?
Absolutely a 3D printer. She like plays keyboard to control a 3D printer, and then she puts the hard drive on it, and she fixes it with shitty synthwave.
Initiate virus scan.
I don't know like what, but then she put that in and she starts doing that, and then we cut and I saw the red binary come on screen. I was like, so help me God.
Well, guess what?
Baka, my prophet, the laughing one. We have found each other once more.
Not 4 minutes, but 3 minutes straight of her doing interpretive dance. Then, this is where I was surprised. I didn't put it together initially that Sean Michael Argo and his buddy are bad guys. They're actually working for the Demagogue.
Yes, the Wire King guy.
Yes, who's like literally just sits in one room, like strapped to like a million Cat 5 cables, just like going into him everywhere. He just sits there and kind of like has seizures and flails around, and then occasionally shows up in other people's dance parties. And like I don't know.
I think what would have been a more interesting design for him, instead of just draping him with a whole bunch of coiled up cables and stuff, is if they would have took him one of those like what are the brain caps, like the
I know what you're talking about.
Is it EEG?
EKG?
EKG
one
is
of the
the heart.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. The little cap that like measures
and then
brain activity.
You just basically hot glue little Ethernet things.
So he has like
then you could connect them like that.
That's the character from the end of the first season of Doctor Who, the Chris Eccleston, like when the bad wolf lady who's like in the that's what she looks like basically, which is also kind of what they're going for at this.
It doesn't surprise me. It's not an original idea, but it is a bit more interesting than what they
do with him, which is is a guy surrounded by cables. It's just the guy at your office who nobody knows what he does, but knows that if he ever gets fired or dies, that everything will stop working. You just let him kind of live in his cave in the back of your office and like, work on
what
things.
What does Tom do here?
Everything and nothing, Kyle.
Everything and nothing.
Anyway, so they upload their node to the evil guy, and he's like laughing, and he's like, "Yes, good, great, thanks for the node," or what? I don't who knows.
We have the node, my lord. Uploading.
Then during this, we get more dancing again. Although this time the lady with dreads shows up a couple times.
Set my people free. The data must flow.
And we just kind of bounce around between her and him and who whatever. It only lasts like a minute, which is great. But at the end of that, she asks, I believe Sean Michael Argo, to set her people free because the data must flow.
Dune?
Now we're doing Dune. Dude, it's ridiculous. It's just a million things all just mushed together in the worst way possible. Meanwhile, I thought Paul Dano was dead, but I think he's still alive because he has a whole conversation with the hacker lady. Like the hacker lady, Baku or whatever her name is, the music 3D printer lady, comes to his place and walks down some stairs. And we're watching this from above, and she's talking to the Paul Dano guy, and they have like a whole conversation that we can't hear.
Yeah.
Like we just watch it and we just kind of like hear noises, but we can't. And then he walks up the stairs, and as soon as he gets to the top of the stairs, the Shinigami lady shows up and just murders him. And I was like, what is happening?
Okay.
It's so confusing, dude. Oh my God. Then the demagogue guy breaches the hacker lady's network or something. Who fucking cares?
Breach.
Meanwhile, the guys from earlier that gave hacker lady the hard drive decide they need to honor the ancestors. And this is again like...
I'm not gonna lie. You keep describing stuff,
and you're like,
it
what?
Means nothing.
What? Well, this is the scene where they light incense and they like pray to the computers or whatever.
Let's honor the ancestors.
You're not supposed to get smoke in your computer components.
This movie is just random ideas thrown at a wall and put together in a way that vaguely resembles a story. Like it's insane. You know, kind of reminded me of a lot actually was a fucking what's his name movie. More so than Ember Days. The guy, Scott Shaw. A Zen movie. Like this reminded me a lot of like Rollerblade 7 or something.
This would 100% feel like Scott Shaw being like in the scene, being like, all right, here's your idea for the scene. Just go ahead and act.
Just kind of do whatever. Yeah. And like there's not really following a narrative that makes any sense. Like you can kind of follow it. Like you get the vague idea. These characters are trying to get something. These other characters are trying to stop them, but motivations are pretty nebulous and like we don't really know what's going on in the world building's like kind of interesting, but not really. Again, it's like
why people are doing things. There's just
yeah, like well, and we never like so many of the characters we meet, we don't know who they are. We never get a name. We never get anything. They're just kind of there. Big part of that, I think, is because they didn't want to record a bunch of audio, like dialogue, because that's hard, and it's like way easier to just film shit and then like kind of add ADR later to explain some stuff or whatever. It's just a nightmare, dude.
We do a filmmaking style called Zen Filmmaking, which means we don't use scripts.
And that's akin to guerrilla filmmaking, which I'm very familiar with.
It's much more spiritually based than guerrilla filmmaking. We don't use scripts.
Cool.
Because then we just cut, and now fucking Kohath and Solomon are fighting some other random people in a warehouse that we don't know who they are, but they have energy shields.
Yeah, what was this one? What?
It's like, what is it? Okay, we got energy shields now. again, this reminded me of Ember Days in the sense it's just like a contextless action scene where it's like I don't know who these people are, why they're fighting. I guess they're trying to stop Sean Michael Argo's guy for some fucking know.
Okay.
Who knows? They never hit anybody. They just shoot so much and miss all the time, which is an Ember Days thing for sure.
The only thing that ever hits anybody is the shotgun.
Yes, I was like, why do you use your other guns every time? Because this scene in particular, the one guy Solomon is shooting at them like 1,000,000 times, never hits them once. Drops his gun, pulls out a shotgun, immediately
Boom,
kills the
down.
guy. It's just like immediately. Then we get a shot of Demagogue saying something with his voice changer in a way that is impossible to understand. Then we jump back into the code world, and we're watching Dread's girl dance. This movie is incomprehensible. It's just stuff.
It gets
happening.
worse and worse.
Well, actually, it gets worse and better because it gets worse in the sense that like more is happening and you have less context, but you have more is happening and it's just as incomprehensible. But by the end, I at least somewhat understood vaguely what like was supposed to be happening, which is that Sean Michael Argo's character basically turns. He goes from working for the bad guy to working for like the resistance or whatever to like help Kami of the Wires or whatever become like a guy, like be realized in her world and become. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know.
We've identified a powerful node in the hands of the believers. Take it from them and bring it home. We cannot trust Kohath. He has been tainted. His honor is in danger.
Then, I guess because somehow Demagogue figures out that Sean Michael Argo is turning, it's like switching sides. He like jacks into Solomon's brain and tells him to kill
him.
Sean Michael Argo, which I thought was interesting.
Protect us. Kill him.
Because then they roll up into the safe house that the two guys from earlier that gave the hard drive to the hacker girl, and they murder both of them.
Yes.
And then Sean Michael Argo jacks into the computer and
he's
like
doing his interpretive dancing, and Solomon's like, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, he's like pointing his gun at him like he's gonna kill him, but he doesn't shoot him. Instead, he just unplugs him, which seems to like be bad because he like starts having a seizure.
It's not like The Matrix, but yeah.
Yeah, he unplugs him while he's like in the middle of his interpretive dance, and boy, he is not good for him because he starts like seizing on the ground or whatever. But then I think Kami of the Wires like saves him because she resurrects it. I thought he died, maybe he didn't, I don't know, but he's like laying on the ground, seemingly dead. And then she says and does something, and he's like, and he like restarts or whatever. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on.
Live today so that you may die by the sword tomorrow.
Control Alt Delete, jiggle the cable, turn it off and on.
I guess.
Kohath is not dead. Hunt him. Destroy all he touches.
They then realize that he's not dead, so Demagogue sends the God, what is her name? The tattooed lady with the eyeshadow. She has like two little sci-fi blasters now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God.
Whatever the fuck her name is.
I lost track of some of the names.
They're impossible because it's all just nonsense. But he sends her after Kohath because
he's turned?
Because he's switched and they need to kill him and Solomon failed, I guess. Meanwhile, Sean Michael Argo stumbles into some old lady and a little girl's house and pays them in RAM. Did you notice that? He like buys information from them and he pays them with old RAM memory sticks, which is the funniest fucking thing in the world. And they tell him something. Who fucking cares? They tell him something and then he like now he knows where to go, I guess, to get, or how to get the last node or whatever they need. Or no, because then he goes, they must tell him to go to the hacker lady, because then he goes and meets up with hacker lady, and they make tea, and we get this really weird close-up of the tea like rehydrating, and it looks weird fungus or something.
That looks really weird.
I am called imbued by spirit, and like the dried leaves, I am awakened in the waters of your mind.
But I think it's just tea like hydrating or whatever. But then while we're watching the tea get made, Kami of Wires is like doing a voiceover about how he's integrating with her, like,
and they're just repeating things over and over.
I can't stress enough that this is insane nonsense.
Yes,
I cannot stress enough how just absolutely nothing all of this is.
Okay.
We commune, I expand. And together we are empowered.
But she tells him, you have to, the Kami of Wires tells him, you have to carry me to his temple, Demagogue's temple. So that I was like, okay, so I guess the idea is that
he takes a hard drive with her on it?
Or he like somehow uploads her into his consciousness or something. I don't know, yeah. And takes her to the Demagogue's lair. Then, meanwhile, we cut back and we're introduced to another bad guy who gets brought in. Some random guy.
I guess he's newly to team up with Solomon to go after him now. Like,
he's just, we've never seen him before, but he's just another guy that needs to help.
Another samurai.
Guns down. Guns down! Hands on your head.
But we see him like murder these 3 random people. There's these 3 other, like, I guess otaku people who are fighting this guy and Solomon, because Solomon is teamed up with this new guy, and they're fighting these 3 random otaku guys, and the 3 otaku guys run into a room, and the bad guy is like sitting in the corner with his gun, and he's like, drop your guns. And they all do for some reason, even though it's 3v1 in this moment.
Yeah.
They all drop their guns and he's like, get on your knees. And then he just shoots them all in the head.
Now everybody on your knees.
Why would they just let him do that? There was one guy, there was 3 of you, you all had guns.
Because they hide. Otaku hide, Brian.
Oh, you're right, I forgot. That's what it said at the beginning. Otaku hides. Duh, obviously. You're right.
Didn't you think?
Yeah. Then Hacker Girl and Kohath, Sean Michael Argo, find their bodies. And Kohath has like PTSD. He goes in, he sees him, and he like stumbles against the wall and seems very upset about this. It's like, you don't even know these people. Also, you've been murdering people this whole movie. Like, why are you upset about this? Anyways, but she's also very upset that these 3 people are dead. But they're like, all right, we got to do it now. So they walk out of this room, and this is the scene I was talking about where we just get this 80-yard voiceover of Sean Michael Argo going,
we must upload the Kami to the Demagogue's mainframe. I'll face the samurai head on. Your task is to destroy the Shinigami.
And I was like, okay, I'm glad we're just like saying what is happening here, because we don't know what's happening. We need that very badly. And then we just get a big fight scene where they just shoot at each other for 20 minutes, never hitting each other. They just run around this big empty warehouse.
Yeah.
I will say it's still better directed than Ember Days. Like, you can tell where they are in space most of the time, and it feels more connected and more it's just a better shot action scenes than Ember Days, but it's still just people shooting at each other and missing for 10 minutes and nothing happening. Meanwhile, the hacker lady is chasing Shinigami around somewhere else and just, I guess, somehow sneaks up behind her magically and blows her fucking face off. She just ends up behind her and is like, surprise.
Nothing personnel, kid.
Really, that is exactly what it is. It's incredible. And then, meanwhile, he kills Kohath kills the other new guy, and now it's just him and Solomon facing off, and they drop their guns
and they go into the net.
Well, before that, they go out and they like square off with each other like they're gonna do like a high noon like showdown, but he just Solomon pulls his shotgun out first and seemingly shoots him, but maybe misses. I don't know, and then Sean Michael Argo just runs away. And then, then they like somehow jack into the mainframe in the middle of this fight. Cause then they start.
We're at a crazy like interpretive dance off.
We get in it, and I was so excited. I was like, Kyle, I swear if we don't get one interpretive dance fight in this movie, I'll be so upset. And oh, thank God we do. Solomon and Kohath interpretively dance at each other for like 5 minutes. It's incredible.
What are they doing? They're in a hack off right now.
They're just popping and locking at each other. No, I'd say they're not really. They're just interpretive dancing at each other. And it seems like Solomon wins. But then he doesn't, and I don't understand. Because seemingly he, like, we see him kind of, like, knock Sean Michael Argo down, and he ends up on the ground. And it seems like Solomon wins. But I guess he doesn't, because after that, he gets, like, converted. He doesn't win. I guess because that's when Hacker Lady shows up and smears the cum on his face. I don't know, Kyle, what the fuck? I don't know, Kyle.
So here's some war paint or whatever,
and that like converts him, or something. I don't know.
Your brother has died to show you the truth. You fight for an unworthy master. He is a demon who wishes to be a god.
The thing that was cracking me up, imagining through this whole climax of the movie, was if they had done a premiere for this. Like, I'm imagining being the actor who played Solomon.
Yeah.
Because, like, here's the thing. The interpretive dance part, like, it's lit kind of interestingly. Like, it's just like a big top-down spotlight in a black room. I can imagine filming that thinking, when they edit this might look cool. Like, they might figure out a way to make this interesting. Like, I could imagine some of the stuff like, filming this and thinking that you were actually maybe taking part in, like, not a real movie, but like something that might be kind of good and interesting. And then I can imagine going to the movie theater for the premiere and sitting in a big theater with the other people that worked in the movie and just watching this big like climactic dance fight scene in total silence while everybody's just like... What? And just being the most disappointing experience.
It needs to be in the right setting, which is at like some sort of film, it's at a very artsy film festival where everybody's like, "Oh, so brilliant! Such a commentary on social norms."
There's no way. There's no way. I can be that person. This movie is not doing that for anybody, dude. I'm sorry. Like, I was trying to find that because, again, I think there are ideas here that could be interesting. This movie just does not do anything with them at all.
Will you accept reality? Or do you embrace the demagogue and his lies? Make your choice, samurai.
Anyways, Solomon gets converted.
Also, demigod guy's brain just fucking fries.
Oh yeah, he starts getting electrocuted, I guess, because I guess Kami of the Wires does something or whatever. But now Solomon gets converted, and he just pulls his shotgun out and blows Demagogue's head off. just shoots him in the face with his shotgun, and then turns around and says out loud to himself, "A samurai without a master has no purpose," and then blows his own head off.
A samurai with no master has no honor.
And that's the end. That's the end of the movie. But that's the end of the movie. It's incredible, and by incredible, I mean bad. This movie fucking sucks. It's boring. It's so boring. It's so
very
disappointed.
repetitive.
Yeah. Well, it's just because it's just somebody, we go to a place, we don't know why we're there, who these people are, what they're doing. Somebody hacks into a thing, and then we watch 5 minutes of interpretive dance.
Also, if you would have told me that this was a sequel to Battlefield Earth, I would have believed you. Because we have the dreads, we have a dystopian future, and we have like some bullshit technology.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can see it for sure. I could absolutely see it. But yeah, it's just too boring. It's too repetitive and too boring. Nothing interesting happens. It looks kind of too good while also looking like dog shit. Because like even though it looks kind of okay, it's not interestingly shot, really. Like, it's just like what is shot doesn't look terrible. Like, there's a couple interesting shots over the course of the whole movie, but it's not very interesting. And it's just, most importantly, the plot is nothing. It's incoherent nothing, and it's boring incoherent nothing. At least with last week's episode, Sinbad, it was incoherent nothing, but it wasn't fucking boring.
No.
Like, this is just, nothing happens. It's the worst. I was really disappointed, too, because I was really hoping, coming off of Ember Days, that would something. Because Ember Days, that's the thing. In comparison to Ember Days has so much like plot compared to.
It's very rich. Like
there's a lot going on. There's people talking about stuff. It still doesn't make any fucking sense, and it's still like nonsense. But like at least comparatively,
it feels very self-contained. Ember Days does. It doesn't feel like it's trying to stretch beyond itself.
Yeah.
Which is not what this does.
Well, and I think more than anything, it's just like it actually feels like they tried to write a script, they just did a bad job. Whereas this movie feels like they just kind of went on vibes.
Yeah,
like that's the thing. This feels like Zen filmmaking, where it's just like we just kind of figure it out as we go. I think Ember Days had a script. It was just a terrible script. This just didn't have a script. It just had like vibes, which it's not. It makes for a boring movie unless their vibes are immaculate, and in this case, they were not. So. That's going to do it for this episode. As always, you can do us a giant favor by heading over to patreon.com/GBorBB. Give us some money there. Give us bonus content. We're going to record our blockbuster training video discussion right after this, which will be a lot of fun. So you can look out for that in the coming month. And we do a new one of those every month at the $5 level. So yeah, go check that out. Get that bonus content. We'd really appreciate it. You can also support us by heading over to TeePublic. All these links are in the description. Buy some merch. Hopefully new merch before too long. This year, we're going to get some new merch. That's my promise.
Yeah.
Gun to my head. We're going to make laser gun from Binary Samurai to my head. We're going to get some new merch this year. So look out for that, but it'll be a while. And then also I have a podcast called This Film Is It, where we're talking about movies that are based on books. When this episode's out, our most recent episode will have been Beastly. It was like I don't know where I did with that book. The book, it's over there.
Beast.
It's like a play on Beauty and the Beast, I think, but like a terrible. I could be wrong. I don't know. It's like a very bad. It's like if you're a fan of this show, this would be a good episode.
Oh boy!
From what I understand, it's very much like a good bad movie, like a very silly, like
oh boy,
trying to be like a very.
When was this film out?
Huh?
When did this film come out?
I want to say like the mid 2010s. But I think it's one of those things where they're doing kind of like a modern day fairy tale, but it's like very 2011, but it's like very try hard and just like bad. It's kind of like, what if Twilight was like terrible, like really, really bad? Like this is the character design. Like this is like the poster for it. Like it.
Oh God.
I've heard it's bad. I don't know anything about it, but I've heard it's really, really bad. And that's going to do it. As always, keep watching movies. Just
not.
I'm sorry. I wanted to recommend it. It's on Tubi.
Sean Michael Argo, we believe in you.
I believe in you. He actually worked on. This is funny. He was a co-creator on a sci-fi show starring Casper Van Dien. That's like it kind of looks like Starship Troopers or something. It looks kind of fun. It looks terrible, but looks kind of fun. The guy's working. Good for him. Doing some interesting stuff. But I wanted to like this movie. It's too boring. He has at least one more movie that he wrote and directed that came out in 2013 or 14 called Cleric, which we might have to check out one day down the road. Maybe that one's more interesting, but this one fucking sucked. Anyways, that's gonna do it. Thank you. Bye. I don't fucking have anything else to say.
Yeah.